If a person has gone through a rough road and has overcome those things, that person has a lot of experience. Sometimes you call them battle hardened or battle experienced. They have a lot more knowledge than somebody who's been given that silver spoon.
I have often said that there is a huge difference between advice and opinion. Advice is information that is given to us firsthand by somebody who has been where we want to go, has walked a path that we want to walk, has fallen down the potholes and learned from them to hopefully give us information to stop us falling down, and really is devoid of personal agenda, bias, commercial gains, that kind of stuff, but really wants to have a genuine intent to serve and help others walk the path. Now, that's what we call advice. Opinion is everything else, and everybody's got an opinion. Now, when it comes to you guys, as you know, I am very honest when it comes to sharing my thoughts on things I don't have experience about. I'll tell you it's my opinion. I'm not qualified to give advice. Doesn't mean to say opinions aren't valuable, but please understand there is a big difference. So when it comes to mentors, when it comes to people that have walked a path that has and got the battle scars to prove it, and have fallen down and got up and actually learned from that and are able to share that information, that's what I want to bring to the table for you guys today. The gentleman that I'm going to be handing over to in a moment is an incredible gentleman. Anyone looking to write or publish a book at some point. Kevin has produced more New York Times #1 bestsellers, has sold more millions of copies of books, been on the #1 list of the New York Times bestseller for weeks and weeks and weeks in a row, many times. The New York Times called him the master of modern day marketing. The Wall Street Journal has called him America's marketing guru. He's built billions and billions of dollars of business. Kevin was the first person to really expose me to the information that was taught by the secret societies. Kevin, I first came across Kevin early in my journey in personal growth, some close to 30 years ago now. Kevin, what an absolute pleasure to have you here, my friend.
Well, Peter, it's fantastic. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. For all the people watching right now, you are blessed to have a teacher and a mentor like Peter. He is a spectacular guy, an intelligent guy, but the experience and his ability to communicate that information to you and help transform people is really second to none. So you are all blessed to have Peter as a mentor. And Peter is a very, very dear friend of mine. He's been there. And obviously we both have gone through challenges in our life, but you know, there was a saying by Earl Nightingale. Some people remember Earl Nightingale with Nightingale Coney Corporation. He wrote The Strangest Secret. And Earl Nightingale said, successful people are not people without problems. They're people who've learned how to overcome their problems. And that's really where it comes down to. When you listen to people, and Peter talked about advice, you need to be listening to people that have what you want and have been where you are. If a person has gone through a rough road and has overcome those things, that person has a lot of experience. Sometimes you call them battle hardened or battle experienced. They have a lot more knowledge than somebody who's been given that silver spoon or somebody who's had kind of a smooth, easy road. They may not know what adversity is or how to overcome it or how to deal with it. But when you listen and get mentored or coached or advised or counseled by people who have had some rough times and have overcome them, there's a lot there that you can grasp and learn. Years ago, back in the 70s, and I'm a lot older than a lot of people think, I'm old, but years ago, back in the 70s, I was brought into a secret organization called the Brotherhood. And the Brotherhood worked with Skull and Bones from Yale University, Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg Group, and the highest level of Freemasonry. In these organizations, we were taught success principles, success recipes, success formulas, and also how to move and manipulate energy with the power of our mind, how to create reality with the power of our mind. It really isn't talked about in the mainstream, but this is what is taught behind closed doors. It's not so much enlightenment, which you can learn from Yogananda, the great guru, or different swamis, Muktananda's line in Siddha Yoga, or if you follow that type of thing. There are a lot of gurus out there that I've known and I've been with and I've lived with. I've been down to the home and stayed with a very famous guru who's a close, dear friend of mine. And that's enlightenment. That's spiritual awakening. But what we're going to talk about today is manifesting goals, dreams, and desires. This is nothing I invented. This is something that I was taught. And when I was taught this, I applied this in real life, and the results were spectacular. So I'm going to share with you a recipe, and you can write these down. I think there's some very powerful notes here. Some of you may think, well, this sounds similar, but it's really not. Now, it's a recipe for manifesting goals, dreams, and desires. This is the first thing I was taught in the Brotherhood. They said, Kevin, if you want to change and improve something in your life, if you want to get something, if you want to get and improve your income, if you want a new car, if you want better status, if you want to improve your health, if you want to change the shape of your body, if you want to get over the fear of public speaking, if you want a relationship, a passionate relationship, if you want even enlightenment and basically to have a sense of inner peace and joy, regardless of external conditions, the first thing you have to do is hate the situation you're in right now. You have to experience pain. This is never talked about. You have to look at what you have and start despising it. It's something I can't live with anymore. This negative energy is what condenses. Negative energy condenses. Positive energy expands. You need to have condensed energy first so that you can release that power and manifest things. That condensing of energy, people very rarely do. You need to have hurt that you are not going to take this anymore, so much that it condenses the energy so that you can move, that you have to move. There's no other choice but move, which means create what you want in your life. Without this element, you don't have motivation, you don't have inspiration, you don't have drive, you don't have enthusiasm. These are the key elements of manifesting things in your life. People who manifest things in their life, they jump out of bed in the morning because they need to make something happen. They're focused, they're excited, they're determined, they're enthusiastic, they're motivated, they're driven, because you're not being driven by wanting something. You're really more driven by eliminating the pain that you have. Number two, you need to then, from the point of not liking the house, not liking the car, looking at yourself in the mirror in your underwear or naked and getting disgusted. I remember there's the ex-Secretary of State in the United States, Mike Pompeo. He blew up like a balloon when he was Secretary of State and became very, very obese. I saw him on TV and he was thin and in phenomenal shape. I almost didn't recognize him, but I thought, who's this good-looking guy? And I go, that's not Mike Pompeo. And it was. I called him. I said, hey, can't believe how good you look. And he goes, thanks. I go, what happened? And he goes, I looked in the mirror when I was naked. I came out of the shower and I realized how disgusting I looked and how disgusting I felt. And I just got so disgusted. I just stood there for 5 full minutes feeling disgust. And he goes, that was it. That's all I needed. You understand? See, it's all he needed. He needed to contract that energy. And then he goes, I'm going to look like I did when I was in West Point. He goes, Kevin, then that day, not the next day, that day, I started exercising and changed my diet. That day, I was determined I was going to change this. Do you understand that? You have to get that disgust. But that drives you when you're disgusted with how you look or your car or your income or the fact that your bills aren't paid or you can't do the things you want. You can't pay for education for your kids, or you can't get the things you want, you can't travel the way you want, you can't go where you want, you can't live the lifestyle you want, whatever it is, that's when you can then clearly define what you want. As Napoleon Hill says, define your dream. So define from the pain. You don't like the car, you're tired of it. Define exactly what you want, specifically what you want, and expand that dream. Create what you can call an ideal scene. What's the ideal scene for your life? What's the ideal scene for your relationship? What's the ideal scene for your health and the way your body looks and feels? What's the ideal scene for your enlightenment state, your joy, your love, your bliss, inner bliss? Step 3 is a magical step. You have to write it down. Write down what you want. Why? Why is that so important? I mean, people foo-foo this all the time. If you look at energy, first part of energy is a wave. An electron is a wave. When it's observed, it becomes a particle. This is how energy works. When you have a thought about what you want, first, it becomes a wave. When you really focus on it and think specifically about what you want, it becomes a particle in the universe or in your field. So I can look at somebody, for example, and I do this on one-on-ones all the time, and we'll get on the phone, and I'll say, red Porsche. And they'll go, how did you know that? I go, it's right in your field. I can see it. It's like clear as a bell. You're really focusing on it. So they converted the wave into a particle. So it becomes real mass in the field. But in order to convert it into the physical universe, you have to take a piece of paper and you have to write it down. So you have to write down specifically what you want. Somebody says, well, can't I just type it into my computer? Yeah, you can. It's better if you write it down because there's more mass. Step 4, there's a concept called dream building. And I learned this, again, in my organization, and it was also taught by a guy named Dexter Yeager, who's a good friend of mine in the Amway business. He had the largest downline in the Amway organization worldwide. He was called the Master Dream Builder. But I learned this in the Brotherhood as a very powerful, specific technique. This also intensifies the energy toward what you want. So it magnetizes and comes into your life, that it virtually is attracted into your life or created into your life. Dream building is where, let's say you want a car. Okay, you write down the car. Go to the car dealership. Look at that car. Touch that car. Because when you physically touch something in the physical universe, things change. Sit in the car. Smell the car. Look at the price of the car. Study the car. But it's touching and feeling. If you want a Rolex watch, go touch and feel the Rolex watch. Put it on. Have somebody take a picture with you having the Rolex watch on. This is powerful. This little trick, it's not really a trick because it's all energy. It's really a mathematical formula. Will start attracting that into your life much faster. Next, when you know what you want, here's the formula or the recipe at this stage, and it's a critical recipe. You have to see yourself in possession of what you want to attain and feel now as if you were actually in possession of that thing. If you want a great relationship, picture in your mind yourself in your ideal relationship. You and that your lover holding hands, looking at each other. She's looking at you, he's looking at you in so much love. You're looking at them and feeling your heart flutter. Can't keep your hands off each other. You talk. You just love communicating. You love being in each other's company. You laugh. You have great passionate lovemaking, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever your picture is, picture that and then feel now as you would feel if you were actually in possession of what you want. That's the feeling. This is critical, and this is a critical part of the recipe. It's a critical element. Picture and feel now as if you were already in possession of it. And this is where almost everybody screws up. If you feel like you want and need something, if you feel like you lack something now and your emotional state will change once you get what you want, you will never attain it. Because if you're feeling lack or wanting or needing or have to have, nothing will happen. So the secret sauce here is after you picture yourself in possession of what you want and feel now as if you were already in possession of it, you're in that state. I'm actually in possession of the Porsche. I'm driving the Porsche and I feel great, man. I can't, this is such a great feeling because look at all my friends. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, I feel great. You know, I feel on top of the world. Yeah. Yeah. Look at them. I know what they're thinking. I know what they're talking about. Me. Yeah, I'm doing, yeah. Success is the best revenge. Here's the magic. Then you have to release and let go of any attachment to actually having it. You actually have to then say, but it's totally okay if I never get that Porsche. And when you release the attachment to having to have it, when you say, but it's totally okay if I never get it, maintain the same feeling. So you release the Porsche. I no longer have the Porsche, but feel exactly the same way. This is the magic. Because now you don't care if you get it or not. Because who cares if you get it? You're already feeling the same way as if you did get it. And since getting it really, I want to get it because I want to feel that way. But wait a minute, I'm already feeling that way. Sure, I still want it. I mean, I'd like to get it. It'd be nice to have, but I don't have to get it. Because I'm already feeling as if I had it, even though I don't. So I really don't care if I get it. When that happens, the magical thing occurs in your life. You're the one who says, when I least expected it, that's when it happened. Next, number 7, you have your dreams, your goal, your big picture item of what you want. But realistically, that ideal scene for your life could happen 5 years from now, 2 years from now, long time. It's a dream. Now, doing these steps eliminate what Gordon Ramsay told me. Gordon Ramsay said, you have to have a dream, but you can't live in a dream world. In other words, you can't be delusional. So you have these big dreams. You feel now as if you were already in possession of them. You release the attachment to them, but you're going to be in a dream world. You have to do the next step. The next step is you break down that dream into a singular chief aim. A chief aim is something that you know you can attain in 6 months to 1 year. Not a dream, not a wish, but it's something you can attain within 6 months to a year. Your dream can be unreasonable. Your vision, your dream can be so big, it may take 3 lifetimes to accomplish. So your dream can be unreasonable. And the bigger your dream, the better. But then you have to now get realistic. If you really want to make things happen, because you have to come out of the dream world, out of delusion, out of fantasy land. Hey, welcome to fantasy. I see people all the time. I'm going to do this and this and this. And I go, welcome to Fantasy Island. You're nothing but a delusional person. And they're like, what are you? I go, you're delusional. Smack, smack, smack. And I'm doing this because I love them, not because I'm being mean to them. I don't like being mean. I'm doing them because I want to snap them out of their stupid state and get them so they can actually manifest stuff. Because they've been saying this for 10 years and they haven't moved in their income. Nothing's changed in their life. It ain't working. So you have to break your dream down into a chief aim, something that you know that you can achieve in 6 months to a year. Hey, let's say you're 30 pounds overweight. My chief aim is in 1 year to lose 10 pounds. Well, heck, you can do that. That's not impossible. That's not even a stretch. So the chief aim has to be specific with a time limit, but it's got to be set up so that you know you can win. Listen, this is a game, and you're writing the rules. Write the rules so that you always win. So you have to have your chief aim and you have to have your objective. And again, they must be written down. Right on that wall over there, I got my dream, right below, and then at the top, and then right below it, I got our chief aim. And then right below that, I got our objective. Now, the objective is something that you're going to, sometimes you can call that a goal, an objective or a goal. That's something you want to achieve within 1 month to 3 months. And again, something you know, as long as you do the actions, you can get it. It's not fantasy. It's not something that's, outrageous. It's reasonable. So set your objective, write it down. With your objective, when you look at your objective, and here's where the rubber meets the road. Now you say, what do I have to do? What action step do I have to take tomorrow? What is the action step? Okay, I want to put on an event in September. Okay, so what is the action step? That's an objective. Could be a chief aim, could be the goal, something you want. What are the action steps? I have to find a hotel that has the room and the availability on the dates I want. I have to sign a contract and negotiate the contract with the hotel, the rooms, and the AV. Then I have to put up the registration on a website. Then I have to market it. You can think of all the things. So you grab a piece of paper, my friends, and you start writing all of the action steps that are needed, the actual action steps that are needed. Or if you don't know the action step, you write down the end result, like get contract signed. That's an end result, get contract signed. In order to get the contract signed, an action step is I need to call Tammy at the Hyatt. That's my action step, and tell her to send me the contract. The next action step is to read the contract. The next action step is to call Tammy and negotiate the language of the contract. Do you understand? My objective is sign the contract, but there's a lot of action steps that have to be written. Write them down. When you write this down, the whole universe now realize you are serious. The last step, you chart your progress with statistics. Everything has to be measurable. Otherwise, you will confuse activity with accomplishment. And that's not my phrase. I learned that from Zig Ziglar. Confusing activity with accomplishment. Most people do that. They're not getting anything done, but they're always busy.
Kevin, thank you so much. And again, absolute gold in that formula. Nothing you need a PhD for, nothing you need a 20 years as a rocket scientist for. Follow the steps, don't get it confused. And I think you've had a huge amount of value. I'm a huge fan, as you know, and a couple of questions, if I may. One of the things that my students and I teach a lot is, environment beats will over time. If you are hanging out with 9 recreational drug users, chances are you're going to become the 10th over time. If you're hanging around with 9 people who look through the lens of how we can, not why we can't, possibility thinking rather than negatively thinking, that are setting 6-figure goals, not 5-figure goals, you're going to become the 10th. It's the power of environment beats well. It's the power of a peer group. Now, a lot of people don't really have much of a peer group. They have more of a fear group or a beer group. And there's a lot of negativity that's out there that's running as default or noise, or if you want to go further down the rabbit hole, very coordinated in its intention to bring people's frequency of vibration down by feeding it crap. What would be some of the best ways in your mind to kind of rise above the default noise that's out of there without trying to lock yourself in as a hermit? Yeah.
What you just described is a key element of success, and one of the greatest kept secrets of success. It's association. It's who you associate with. Who do you spend time with? Research has shown repeatedly that your income is the average of your 5 best friends. So what you said is, Peter, is 100% correct. One of the greatest kept secrets in the world of success, when you look at people that in today's dollar amount, it's really $100 million net worth, or about $10 million of your income. That's kind of the level that you kind of look that and above. When it comes to material success, some of these people are miserable. They don't have good health. They're out of balance. But let's just talk about material success for a moment. If you're looking at somebody who's making that type of money, look at all of them, every one of them, and throughout history, including Andrew Carnegie and Henry Ford and all these people. And today, the big boys like Elon Musk and the late Stephen Jobs, etc. They are all part of a group, either a private club, a secret society, a country club, a group, or an association. And at the lower levels, they're part of things like YPO, Young Presidents Organization, or a club like Rotary Club. Why? So they can associate with like-minded people that will uplift and help them. We have a connection via our DNA to our family. And if you're a member of a wealthy family, you have an advantage because you're getting power from all the other people in that family to you via your DNA. So if you're down, you get empowered via DNA channel. And if you're positive, you're empowering everybody else who has the DNA connection. If you don't have that, because a lot of our family, friends, and relatives are boneheads, and we're like, how did I draw this card out of the deck? Look at all my friends, they're all negative Nellies, right? Well, then you have to join a group like YPO or Rotary, or, your organization is a great group, mine, the Global Information Network, or I actually have a fan club, the Kevin Trudeau fan club, where people join and become partners so they can connect. And when they join, energetically, they're connected to the rest of the like-minded group. So they empower each other just energetically. That's really critical. Every successful person is part of a group, an association, so that they can pull for others and have others pull for them on an energetic level, not just by giving them the right connection, call this guy, or giving them advice that they wouldn't been able to get someplace else. That's all good. But it's more the connection energetically that these individuals have that make the difference.